Am I not seeing a link to the character sheets anywhere?
Let me dump it in.
I just got an internet connection is unstable.
Okay.
Notification from
There you go, they say.
Meanwhile, I'm going to dump the link in chat. There you go.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
That's where I put
there we
all my
go.
notes on questions and stuff.
All right. Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep.
Beep 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 beep.
Oh
Okay.
God. I'm sorry.
And then Spaceballs.
Thank you.
I'm thinking I was napping before this.
Oh, sorry, Lauren.
No, it's fine. I should have.
Okay. So while you are thinking, I'm going to review what we did last time, because apparently last time I reviewed it, the sound wasn't working. Thank you, Tarston Corvus in chat for acknowledging the problem. So last time we had our youthful offenders move to Charlotte, which is the headquarters of Lion and Lamb Incorporated, to start their new adventure, which is quite possibly a variety show. We're not quite sure yet. And Lupo ended up getting in some trouble by escaping from the Lion and Lamb headquarters and running around the city for a while and getting caught. In the ensuing kind of confrontation, their minder, Mama, passed on an illicit package through the dark web. And, well, not the dark web, through...
Wasn't it through the... Oh no.
Well, no, not through the dark web, because only you four are on the dark web. But passed it through.
Yeah, it was encrypted.
It was encrypted. Thank you. Words are hard. And it led them to start investigating an entity known as the Children of Eden. So now it is the next morning, and Lauren is going to set our scene.
Okay, I've got it. So getting ready for breakfast. Presumably Mama's going to be there when they eat or something. So Grace is going to PM this message to Quinn. Why did you let me in the first place?
Why did you what?
Let me in the first place.
Ah. Don't know. Because at some point we have to learn to trust. Silence.
But why? Why me? For all I know, I could have been one of them.
Jack pops up on your visor and just starts shooting out files of your entire background.
That's fair enough.
And then he does this like warm hug kind of gesture.
Grace's little flower avatar is going to reach out and pat Jack. I'm glad you did. I'm really glad you did.
At this point now, I'm just imagining Jack like running around trying to get her to hug him. And she's just like, no, that's fine. No.
Awkward side hug.
You glow weird. Go away.
All right, excellent. So what happens in the first 5 seconds?
Okay, in the first 5 seconds. With Grace or with everyone?
With everyone.
With everyone,
So,
okay.
It's breakfast.
Okay, as everyone sits down, there's a screen in front of the room and it blinks on.
Okay. Way to pass the buck.
It could be good, it could be bad.
No, it definitely could be all of those things.
Good evening.
And I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Yeah. Processing. So let's see. The screen blinks on and Mama is seated kind of, there's the screen, there's a table, Mama's seated at the table, and then there's like a very long table where everyone else eats, where all this the students eat. Not students, all the talent eat. And the screen blinks on and it is Betty, the executive that came to you when you guys were still in Marietta and said that she was going to be taking a personal hand in your education. And she gives you this saccharine kind of smile and says, "Good morning, all my children," and waits and pauses as if she's expecting something back.
Quinn's gonna hide behind Lupo.
Lupo gives a big hearty good morning.
Grace gives a quiet good morning.
Greetings.
Had the other like 4 or 5 kids that are in the hall saying good morning and various states of awakeness. And Betty smiles again and she says, "Excellent, I'm so glad to see that you all slept well." And her eyes kind of linger on Lupo for a moment.
He pretends to notice. He pretends to not notice so well that it actually kind of carries off.
All right, fair enough.
He's had his walkies. He's just looking ahead, eating his giant pile of bacon.
Yes. So starting today, each of you will be meeting with one of the members of our creative team to develop the next part of your career. We will be calling you individually into different offices. So please be aware and pay attention to your visors. Thank you all and enjoy breakfast. Goodbye. And she gives that little like terrible wave that people do. Yeah, she does that. And kills the connection.
Lupo pours some syrup on his bacon.
Done. All right.
I want to do a thing.
Do a thing.
Quinn is going to, because Quinn always dresses a little unruly, but it's always very dapper. So it's always like a suit and tie. Quinn's going to reach into their suit jacket and pull out a small plushie to just kind of hold close.
Okay.
And it's going to look like this.
Aww. It's an antique.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is Jade doing?
Jade is eating very carefully and just trying to figure out how all of this fits into everything and why now, and trying to, again, figure out how the algorithm is going to change or shift.
Okay. What's Grace doing?
Grace is holding very still, eating basically a bowl of oatmeal or cereal, something kind of grain-based. Being kind of, it's like that still posture, like kind of upright, but then she's sort of hunched over in the shoulders, keeping her eye on her plate, but you could tell there's like tension there. Her hair is, as usual, in front of her face, And because this is a new environment, she's not sure what she can get away with yet. She's still dressed mostly in very bland colors, but she is wearing kind of a pink scarf. Just makes her feel better.
Cool. All right. So what I would like for everybody to do for me is I am going to share the weight of world building with you. And I want everybody to take a minute and when you're ready, go ahead and describe one of the other students in the room. They do not have to be, for lack of a better word, mutants, but they are the best and brightest of Lion and Lamb.
So you would say that they're not mutants, but they might be masterminds.
No.
For legal reasons, we cannot say that.
There is a boy, Jacob, who is seated. Like if there's someone across, it's 2 people over.
Okay.
He has blonde hair and brown eyes. And he is trying not to look at Lupo. Like he wants
as you
to,
do.
right? Like no, I mean, it's like he wants to be either like interested or something with Lupo, but Jay can recognize that he's not doing so.
Okay.
I'm going to say that there's another boy sitting in a corner, like not at a table, just straight up in a corner, wearing black slacks and a black turtleneck. And their hair covers their eyes, but they're just sitting there huddled together playing with a lighter.
Okay.
It's one of those kids who I might have been in junior high.
Okay.
Did either of y'all name them or?
Yeah, one of them was Jacob. The blonde
Okay.
was Jacob.
I didn't name the other one. Let's call him Creed.
Okay.
Okay. There is Karen, who has long brownish red hair and green eyes, pale skin, sitting in a group of about 3 other girls in the corner, talking, laughing, kind of enjoying being the center of attention and very studiously not looking over at the new arrivals. Very well dressed, kind of, if you've seen Mean Girls, kind of the Regina George here.
Okay.
Or trying to present herself as the Regina George here.
Okay. There's one last kid called Riker. That's not his last name, that's his first name. And he's got like orange hair, like a shade of orange that you don't think you've ever seen on a person before, but doesn't look unnatural. And skin that isn't as pale as you would expect it to be from that shade of red, but freckles in a very specific pattern, like just on their cheeks and not really anywhere else. And they're just kind of they're the coolest kid in the room. Like if you look around, like yeah, Lupo's cool, but Lupo's also like a superstar, like a celebrity. Like this kid is just cool. Like, it doesn't look like anything could possibly bother him.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so after a little bit, you're about halfway through your plate of bacon, Lupo. Another minder.
More syrup.
Yes, another minder comes in, and you can tell she's a minder because she's dressed almost identically to Mama. But she is black with natural hair, close cropped to her head. And when she comes in, Jacob, Karen, and Riker straighten up. Like, this is obviously their Mama. And she comes in and she sits next to your Mama, Darlene. And the two of them appear to start a conversation. And you can tell by how Mama is carrying her shoulders, they're high and tight, that this is not a fun conversation.
Can I pick up the audio on Mama's visor? Or
Yes.
on her glasses, I guess.
Yes, you can. So by the time you tune in, you hear the end of a question that the other Mama says, here? And Mama Darlene says, it was their first night. You have to understand that things weren't as zipped up where we came from. And the other woman says, well, you better make sure that they zip up quickly. And Darlene kind of leans back as if that was like an actual like physical assault. And she says, thank you for the advice, Chandra. And then Chandra stands up and goes and gets breakfast. And when she comes back, she does not sit back down with Mama Darlene. She sits down with her kids and appears to have a very good relationship with them. And they're laughing and joking. And she passes like an extra waffle to Jacob and looks over her shoulder at Creed and then goes back to the kind of the rest of the group.
Lupo kind of stops in the middle of a bite of bacon, sits up a little straighter, and like the three of you, the rest of the wolf pack, kind of get the sense that if he had his tail, it would be like pointing straight up. And all of a sudden, he shows up on the dark web. Like, do all of these kids have powers?
Can I run a search to see if I can bring up information on them?
You can.
I'm going to see if they have powers.
Okay. So Creed definitely has powers. If you guys look closely at the lighter, it's a Zippo. And the movement of flicking against the wheel to light it doesn't actually match up with how big the flame is.
I'm going to put a red threat indicator over his head.
Riker is actually an Irish American. And if you look closely when he smiles, this tooth right here is gold.
Okay.
He's a leprechaun, isn't he?
Perhaps.
That poor kid must have been teased so much.
I'm going to put a yellow indicator over him.
In my head, he's more like a Mad Sweeney type leprechaun than a traditional like tiny leprechaun.
Than a Lucky Charms.
Yeah, he's not a Lucky Charms leprechaun. He's
an ancient fairy come to kill you kind of leprechaun.
And Karen and Jacob don't appear to have powers. From what you can tell, they are just very, very good looking. And they are sitting next to each other in a way that implies that they're a couple.
I'm going to put white indicators over them and then a purple one over their mama.
Yeah, and if you look closely at Chandra's eyes, they're silver.
Oh, shit.
Her glasses are tinted in such a way that it kind of negates that. But when she turns and the glasses, aren't as in the way, you can see that her eyes are just like silver.
What information can I bring up on Chandra?
Not a lot. You would actually have to hack in to the personnel files of the mamas, and that is in like a different basically file cabinet, like digital file cabinet than the ones on the kids.
Would I be able to, working on a hunch, would I be able to go back over like a previous generation's programming, like the previous generation of actors and entertainers and performers, and find Chandra?
Yes, you do. You find a promotional picture of Chandra in a like tight black bodysuit. And she's not wearing glasses, so you can see the silver in her eyes, and her hair is long and flowing. And it says, trying to think of a good name for her. Chandra, the girl of the storm.
I'm going to, next to her purple indicator, I'm going to put 3 skulls to let everybody know that this is a boss fight. It's way above our level.
So Lupo's icon pops up again in the dark web saying, I really don't like the idea of these individual tests all of a sudden.
Sorry, taking notes for myself.
Yeah. Grace pops up there too. Just try to hold your head. Just try to keep your heads together. Remember to breathe. And just whatever you do, just try not to let anything slip. Just be what they think that you are. We can get through this.
Jack is going to start doing Lamaze.
Yeah, exactly. We can get through this. We can get through this.
All right.
Should we talk to Mama, or should we just do this? And
I was wondering if Jade could talk to Mama alone.
Yeah, definitely. Are you going to get up and go to her, or are you going to ping her on your glasses, or how are you going to go about it?
I'm actually going to get up and go to her.
Okay. I'm going to say that as you get up, your chair kind of does that chair on linoleum squeak. And conversation briefly kind of stops and everyone looks at you. And then there's just like, oh, it's just the new girl, and they go back to eating. They thought something interesting was going to happen. So then you get up and you can go to Mama without anybody like stopping you or anything.
So when I sit next to Mama, is it just Mama and me, and there's like no one else?
Right. There's Mama and you, and then there's the empty screen.
So no one can really like hear us if I actually. like when I talk to her, it's like, is everybody like there? Like, can they easily hear me? Or
No, they can't hear you. You're a good distance away. You know that Quinn would probably be able to pick up your audio due to their tap on Mama's glasses, but you don't think anybody else has taken that initiative.
Well, if that sounded
Noisy cafeteria.
I mean, it's kind of noisy because there's only like 10 of you in there. And like Karen and her squad are they're being teenage girls, and they're talking and laughing, and someone is trying to braid someone else's hair and getting it wrong, and they're just like, no, don't do that. Like, that's the only other kind of ambient noise going on.
okay, so I am Jade, 6 next to Mama, and Mama, do you have a moment?
And she's kind of preoccupied. She was staring at the other group of children, and she says, oh, well, yes, of course, Jade. What's the matter?
Mama, you have been a big part of my life. And because of that, I saw you as a constant in my life. You know how I see the world, formula and algorithms and such. Lately, by being with the others, they have shown me that sometimes new variables happen, and I'm realizing that I'm having, especially like with feelings.
Remember
When
How are emotions?
no, I'm done. So Mama, back where we were, and when the change was happening, I factored you into my constant, and I failed to calculate what your possible input would have been into that decision. And I should apologize because others are more than numbers now. I am learning that by being with this group.
Mama looks at you really closely for a second. And it's clear that she's not getting everything that you said. Her mind just doesn't work like yours. But after a while, she kind of smiles and she says, well, thank you, Jade. I have tried to be there for you and the others as much as I can. And it's an honor to be able to work with you.
I noticed the beginning of our day, and of course activities will happen, but perhaps I could talk to you later about some of the feelings I have been having lately.
Yes, of course. My door is always open.
Thank you, Mama.
Jack wanders off to go check, see if her door's open.
No, her door's locked.
He comes back disappointed.
So have a good day, Mama. And Jade
Of course,
goes back.
Jade. You as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, does anybody else have anything else that they want to do at breakfast?
I'm gonna eat some
Lupo-
waffles.
They're good waffles too. They're blueberry.
Lupo's gonna start humming Manamana and trying to get everybody to hum along with it. I'm charging my attack.
Quinn's not going to hum along, but every now and then they'll just tap the table to the rhythm.
Lupo's kind of elbowing Quinn until they start tapping, and smiles and keeps humming. Starts elbowing Grace.
Grace is going to hold out for a very long time, but then finally go, phenomena.
Jade is going to be completely fascinated with this rhythm, and will go, phenomena.
Do.
Phenomena.
Do.
Phenomena.
We are such weird people.
Is this song the equivalent to pi?
Maybe? No,
The
it
number.
can't be because it repeats.
If anybody stops and looks around, everyone else has gone dead silent and they're just watching you like, what the fuck?
You all just look
Grace
around and kind of
hunches down,
in-
pulls her scarf up.
In the dark web, Jack has maracas and just dancing around.
Lupo just kind of looks around and spreads his arms and goes, phenomena.
And Karen gives you this look like you are something she scraped off her shoe.
I'm gonna look at the kid that was trying not to look at me, be like, phenomena?
And Jacob goes, muh, and then gets elbowed by Karen and goes, no, we're not.
I'm going to send an image to Creed's visor that's just do.
Losing the crowd here.
Creed snaps. He's put away the lighter, but he snaps and a little bit of flame comes up and it looks kind of like a Muppet.
Lupo gives him the finger guns. And phenomena.
Creed doesn't say anything, but the little Muppet kind of dances.
Behind her scarf, Grace is smiling just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we're all teenagers.
He's gonna take one last stab at it. He's gonna take one last stab at it and like kind of with an imploring gesture, look at Riker. Phenomena.
Riker kind of squints a little bit like he's accessing something on his glasses, and in kind of a slightly accented voice says, do.
And Lupo just lights up and kind of takes the win.
Okay.
It's good that we're fighting the establishment.
One Muppet song at a time. Technically, one Swedish porn song at a time.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights.
All right. And kind of after that, Karen and her brood kind of get up and sort of in disgust brush past you on their way to return their trays.
Jack's going to appear in the dark web with this very long blonde wig and this like floofy dress and just go and walk off the screen.
Flounce. And
Okay.
for the first time, you're seeing Lupo just kind of a little defeated and just like, I thought it was cool.
Quinn just kind of pats him on the shoulder.
If anybody bothers to look over at Mama, she looks slightly horrified.
And that's breakfast.
Yeah, Mama looks slightly horrified. Chandra looks amused. like, oh, look at these freshly minted chuckle fucks.
Are you sure we can't change our name from the Wolf Pack to Freshly Minted Chuckle Fucks?
That'll be our unofficial name.
That'll be our motto. The Wolf Pack, a bunch of freshly minted chuckle fucks.
All right. So we're gonna skip ahead a little bit.
We capture the attention of the youth. This is how
Yes.
we buy their food.
So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to the first meeting, and they said that they were going to meet with everybody individually, but it's actually Lupo and Quinn that get the first meeting together. And let's see. So there is a conference room that is down a floor from the cafeteria. And it's got like a big television screen in one corner with like a projector, and it's got one of those old-fashioned conference phones that have like the speakers all around it, and everybody's got really comfortable swivel chairs that they can lean back in and go like this. And when you guys walk in, because you get the notification on your glasses of where to go and what time, Colonel Jerry is there, the exec of the album branch of Lion and Lamb. And he says, "Ah, boys, it's good to see you."
With forced enthusiasm that he's not even going to try to disguise as forced, it was going to be, "Jerry, how good to see you again."
And Jerry
Jackson Darknet with a nailed baseball bat, just
he says, "Still raking in the royalties from Amber Eyes. It was a good play, you two. We could have marketed it a little better if you'd let me know what you were doing, but I do like your initiative."
So
this is me at my trolley best, but I'm gonna have a D20 just kind of roll across the screen. Roll for initiative.
Well, Jerry, the thing about Amber Eyes is that if we had brought you in on it, you would have wanted to do something that we had done 100 times before and made a little bit of money off of, instead of the gamble that made buku bucks. I think they actually had to make up a bukuplex to accurately describe how much money we made off of Amber Eyes.
Quinn starts to look very confused, and on their just in their awareness is looking up, what the hell does buku mean?
That was a really bad idea on my part, but I'm just gonna Jerry, if we had brought you in on it, it would have sounded like every single other one of my singles, and it couldn't.
And Jerry leans back in his chair and he's like, "Son, you wound me. I would have given you the creative control. In fact, that's what I'm going to do with your next album. And I want Sonny Boy here, Quinn, to help me produce it."
Sunny them.
I'm sorry?
Sunny them. Quinn is a them.
You can tell Jerry just doesn't get it. And it just goes whoosh over his head. And
just don't worry about it, Jerry. Just
yeah. He shakes his head. Yeah, he shakes his head and he's just like, "Well, anyway, I want him in my producer's booth. So I wanted to get your input on marketing."
All right.
This wolf thing you've got going, it's working for you, and want to capitalize on that a little bit. Do you have any other songs coming up the pipe like Amber Eyes? Anything else we could do a little bit of advanced scouting for?
Well, see, the thing about it is that I do have this group now, you know, the Wolf Pack. Grace in particular, like she's really got something that I don't think anybody saw the last time she was in the spotlight. And if we can unlock that, Jerry, we can really go places. I mean, I hear what you're saying about the wolf thing, and I'm about it. But I think what we want to do is a group kind of a thing, you know?
Tell me more. And he like takes out it's a notepad, but it's just a single sheet of glass with like a stylus, and he's starting to jot notes, and you can see it basically jotting down on his notepad and filtering into his visor.
Well, Jerry, see, the thing about it is if you really, really, really want to get marketing done on an album, what you do is you make people ask you for it before you tell them you're working on it. And what we can do here, what we can do to really drive up the demand for the Wolf Pack is, Jerry, you're really going to love this, man. One of those old-fashioned variety shows, Jerry. How long has it been since people have seen something good and wholesome like that? You know what I mean? How long has it been since they could turn on the TV and every week at the same time get something that gives them a jolt to get through the rest of it, you know? And that's what we can do, man. Like with Quinn doing these amazing visuals that nobody's ever seen before. Jerry, you can't tell me anybody's ever seen this stuff before. With Grace coming back to the spotlight, with Jade giving us so much information about how things hit, whether they miss, whether they land, whether they don't land. Jerry, we can't lose.
I like what you're putting down, but you know I can't give you full creative control. Not after the stunt you pulled with Amber Eyes and that business last night.
Jerry, 5 minutes ago, you just told me that you were going to give me creative control, and now you're telling me you're not going to give me creative control. What is this?
You're going to have to agree to some oversight.
How much oversight?
That's up to you.
Is it?
Let's say we give your variety show a couple of episodes. If it hits well, maybe we can loosen the chain a little bit, as it were. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, Jerry, Amber Eyes didn't have a chain on it. So how's this going to hit as well as Amber Eyes did with a chain on it?
Look, this isn't my decision. This comes from top brass.
You can't tell me you don't have any leverage here.
You got to make me want to go to bat for you.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, Jerry, what kind of things would you want to see from this kind of a show?
Can you commit to offering me a new musical act every week?
Jerry, I can commit to a new musical act. You mean like we've got the Wolfpack at the center, but we're bringing in new talent every week? Like somebody besides the Wolfpack doing their thing? Is that what you're telling me here?
If we do this, it's going to be on the strength of your name, the strength of your brand. People are going to want to see you in the spotlight.
You want a musical act from me every week?
Yes.
Jerry, why would I be doing this thing if I didn't do that? Yeah, you can get a new musical act from me every week, Jerry. Tell you what, for holidays, we'll do 2. We'll do one at the beginning and one at the ending. How does that sound?
Now you're talking. So the rest of the meeting kind of goes pretty quickly. It's just hammering out fine legal details, and he gets you and Quinn to sign a contract that basically says, like, from you, it's going to be, from Lupo, it's going to be 1 musical act a week, and you agree to have your skits or other performers reviewed before they go on air.
Jerry, this review stuff. Look, man, you know as well as I do that what really sells is surprise.
I can take it up to top brass, but I don't think that they're gonna agree to it. You're too much of a loose cannon.
Jack's going to bring out a whiteboard and write Plan B and do a straight line that says oversight, and then ducks down on another line, and that's going to be what we actually put out.
Jerry, here's the thing. Every one of the variety shows that actually hit had a little bit of an edge to them. Maybe not a whole lot, but, you know, who remembers Love American Style? Nobody remembers that stuff. You know, I mean, review, sure, but you got to give me a little bit of leeway to push the envelope here. That's what people want. You know, it's a variety show. So we got to give them a variety of stuff. How are we going to do that if we're just showing them stuff that has already been approved? If it's all working under the same rules as before, Jerry, it's a waste of everybody's time.
Lupo, I like you. You know I like you. But, and if it were just me, I would let you have this thing. But it's not just me. There's the whole Lion and Lamb brand we got to protect. If we're putting out something with the Lion and Lamb name on it, then it's got to be Lion and Lamb approved.
Yeah, but you just told me that we're putting out something with the Lupo name on it, Jerry. Like, yeah, Lion and Lamb, but there's 3 L's here now. Bless you. Like, is this a struggle?
This is not quite a struggle. It would be, but you've made some very good points. And all he's going to do is he's going to say, "Look, I'll take it up. I'll take it up with my execs." Okay.
Okay.
No promises.
That's all I ask you, Jerry. That's all I ask you. Like, just try and give me some leeway here. I mean, I'll work with what I get, but I'm going to try and get all I can work with. You understand what I'm saying?
I like you, kid. You got chutzpah.
Thanks, Jerry. You too.
All right. So let's go to Grace really quickly. Grace, when you walk into the conference room, you pass Lupo and Quinn and this guy that just looks like the epitome of sleaze coming out of the conference room. But when you get in there, there's someone already in there, and it's Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith. Grace is going to sit down in front of him. Presumably, he's there for her since, hooray, doctors.
Hooray! And Dr. Smith is just going to lean in and say, "How are you?"
I'm doing well, Dr. Smith. Thank you.
And he's going to rustle through a pile of papers. He's very old school. He still uses actual paper.
Yeah, Grace is going to raise her eyebrows at that one.
Yeah, he's very old school. And he passes across an evaluation, and it's like on and he hands you a pen, like an actual pen. And the evaluation was just like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your pain today? How has your pain been over the past week? That bullshit.
Yes. Very familiar with it.
Yes. It's basically, he is going to do for the next 15 minutes just diagnostic bullshit, because he wants to see how the move has affected you, how the climate being slightly different in terms of humidity in Charlotte has affected you. Basically, he's doing everything except getting out a microscope and examining you.
Grace is going to fill it out more or less honestly,
Mm-hmm.
in that her pain has increased over the last few days, since they've been traveling. She's actually, as she's writing, she's had to grow splints for herself, basically, to hold the pen, the pencil, whatever she's using. It's tolerable, but it's it's still there. Yeah, just sort of, it's more of the same old, slightly increased pain. Yay, I'm still doing this sort of thing. Under her clothes, she wears kind of baggier clothes to hide where she's bracing her knees and shoulders and elbows and that sort of thing. Aside from just the, hey, now I have roots and my skin's got a greenish tint and stuff like that. She also hides it just because, oh, hey, this is yay, fun. So she finishes it and slides it across over to him.
Okay. He reviews it just very, very briefly, and he puts it back in its file folder, and he, sets that aside. And he says, I care about your well-being. And I worry that this group that you're running with is going to be too strenuous for you.
Red alert.
Yeah, in the dark web, her flower icon is gritting its little flower teeth. in meat space, Grace says, thank you for your concern, but I have a responsibility to watch over them, and I know my limits, and I try to keep myself in as good a shape as possible and make sure that they stay under control as well.
That is apparently what he wanted to hear, because he leans back and he starts smiling, and he's like, I knew we could count on you, Grace.
Thank you, Doctor. I try.
Lupo kind of bounces over, golden retriever-esque, and gets up to Grace. Hey, did you hear? Did he tell you?
Is this in meat space or?
What's that?
Is this in real life or in the dark web?
Did you just walk into her meeting with her doctor?
No, I thought we were there as well.
No, you weren't.
We were out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that we were all in the same room. I'm sorry.
No. This is just Grace and her doctor.
Yeah,
Okay.
She passed by y'all on the way, but
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, that was me being unclear.
Okay, sorry about that. Ignore me.
I just came in to say we're all counting on you.
Somebody left a baby.
That was a weird one.
All right. So yeah, basically you get the sense that there was some sort of test and you passed it. Whether it was a test of like physical or mental, you're not quite sure, but you have a feeling that like he is not worried about you as much anymore. Whether or not that's a good thing, we don't know.
Yeah, Grace is still, as she does when interacting with most people, not the wolf pack, holding herself very still, only making minimal eye contact, just kind of holding it all in. She's going to go back and just rage at everyone later, but for right now, just very calm, very quiet, waiting to be dismissed, or if he has any other things, just deal with that.
Yeah. So he'll look you up and down one more time, kind of just examining you. And you can see that he is paying particular attention to your joints and trying to see if you have them braced or splinted. He doesn't ask you to, like change into a gown or anything, but he does kind of look you up and down. And he's just like, well, I'm glad to see that you're doing as well as you are. And if there's anything you need, know that you can talk to me.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll be sure to do that should the need arise. May I go?
Yes, of course, of course. And he waves you off and he opens his file folder again and starts making notes.
Grace is going to get up and start walking briskly out of the room. And in the dark space, her little flower is going to be like, I fucking hate that guy.
Lupo's, I guess Lupo has a puppy icon. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what Lupo's dark space icon is, but he says, hey, guess what? You're going to be able to sing a song about it.
Really?
Yeah. We got a contract.
Oh, good.
I
Excellent.
want to draw everybody's icon.
Okay. So before we get to Jade's meeting, it is 9:30. I want to take a quick 10-minute break just to refresh my drink and use the facilities. So, and I'm assuming other people probably also need a bio break as well as a brain break. So we will meet back at, let's say 9:45 EST. And I will see everybody back then.
Cool.
All right, are we good to go to halftime? Awesome.
All right. See you in 10.
Halloween candy.
Woohoo! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Misspent Youth. I am Nori, aka Science Weasels, aka The Authority, and we just got back from a 10-minute break, and we are going to hop right back into the action with Jade having a her one-on-one meeting. So Jade, your meeting was pushed back to after lunch. So you have a lunch with the rest of the wolf pack before you get to your meeting. So you have been filled in on the variety show and how much Grace hates doctors. And basically, you have as much information going into your meeting as everyone else has. So when you walk into the conference room, it is this woman that you have never seen before. But you think you've never seen her before, but she looks familiar. And she stands up as you walk in, and she says, "Hello, Jade. My name is Sandra."
Hello, Sandra.
Please sit down.
Of course.
And she has a data tablet, and she flips through stuff on the data tablet. And basically she's like, I know I don't have to beat around the bush with you. The organization is worried that you are losing your grip on your humanity. You are retreating too far into data. I am here to see if there's a way that we can bring you back from that.
Sandra, I understand your conclusion. However, I would like to introduce evidence. Being with Grace, Quinn, and Lupo, my time with them has, well, exposed me to, well, life. They have different viewpoints, different experiences, and they have not rejected me. They have not looked at me and then dismissed me. They have actually willingly engaged in dialogue with me and in activities with me. And by doing so, it is though an egg has cracked. And I realize that people, I am beginning to realize that people are not just numbers. So I believe I would actually call them friends.
Okay. She appears to be taking this in. You noticed one hand was entering data on the data pad as you talked. Although she kind of kept watching you, she didn't look down at the data pad the entire time. So you think that this wolf pack is a good influence on you?
Yes, I didn't know I could be creative until the Amber Eyes incident. I am fully aware of how Lion and Lamb has viewed this incident, but it was just very interesting to see other things that I could do. And I have to admit, Lupo fascinates me in an interesting way.
Sandra smiles a little bit at that. And kind of the same sense that Grace felt, you feel like there was a test that you have just passed. And Sandra says, well, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you have a lot to do as you settle into your new quarters. But I will be around, and if you need me, I will send you my contact information. And she presses the button on her glasses that sends a data stream from her glasses to yours. And it is her full name, which is very rare because they don't tend to use last names in Lion and Lamb very often. But her last name is Gilligan. and it looks familiar to you for some reason.
Well, Sandra, it was a pleasure to meet you. Do you require anything else?
No, Jade, that's all for today.
Well, you have a good day. And I get up and I go.
Okay. Yeah. Do you look into Sandra's background?
Yes, I actually on the dark web send to Quinn. Like not only did Sandra give me, I'm going to do like this is what Sandra looked like, but man, she gave me her last name. That's odd. Can you? I'm going to ask Quinn if he can do a search.
Quinn's gonna start searching.
Okay. So what you get is a census record. And Sandra Gilligan is 43. And at the time of the last census, which was about 10 years ago, she had a 3-year-old daughter.
Is there somebody with the last name of Gilligan that is currently in a Lion and Lamb program as a child actor?
That's a little harder to find just because they don't publish people's last names, theoretically under privacy rules. But I'll say if you try again later, you might be able to find it.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask Quinn. Quinn, she looked familiar. I don't know if you can do any sort of, I know you can't do it right away. Perhaps Jack could just be running. Perhaps maybe she was in a promotion or something. I don't know. Can he do that in the background? Just sort of.
Quinn is, I'm going to think that right now that Quinn is in their room and just sitting on their bed. And Quinn's going to sit up straighter and kind of bring their hands out like this. And in their vision, multiple screens appear. And they start running different programs like search programs and cross-referencing programs and facial recognition software on all these different screens. And they're going to loop each one into the other and just leave it running.
Okay. All right. So now there's a little bit of downtime before dinner. There is, you each have an appointment with a tailor.
Sweet.
Yes, Lupo, it's your tailor. It's your buddy, your pal. But everyone else has.
They too are in the storage room where he keeps all his clothes.
Yes, just they unfold out of a closet. But with the idea that, like, well, you guys are going to be in the public eye more often now, so you need to be dressed as if you were in the public eye. They're not as worried about Quinn because Quinn already dresses very dapper, but they try and introduce some new fabrics and a different color palette into your wardrobe. Like, hey, maybe you want to wear blue pinstripes sometimes. Or maybe...
Quinn's gonna have a panicked expression on their face.
Or, you know, why don't we try like an orange tie, you know?
I actually had an idea for a tie for Quinn.
Okay.
It's going to have wire inlays so that when Quinn wills it, the inlays change color from this like vibrant blue to a vibrant pink to a vibrant purple. Just kind of almost like an LED, just kind of constantly switching between the colors.
Cool. Yeah. do you like present them with the plans for that, or like?
Yeah, I basically just put onto their visor an image of the tie and then of the color shifts, and then around the back all of the different inlay patterns.
So the tailor looks a little bit startled because he's not used to just information getting dumped without like somebody pressing a button. Did you press a button to cover yourself?
I don't think Quinn did. No.
Okay. So a little bit startled because usually like people have to press a button to send things. And so instead, like this schematic appears in his vision. He's just like, oh, actually, this is really cool.
And then Quinn kind of stops for a moment and thinks, Quinn's going to be on stage, right? Like,
Yeah.
Quinn's going to have to do visual stuff on stage.
Yep.
So Quinn is going to basically design an entire dapper suit with those inlays so that they can manipulate the different patterns all across their body, including a fedora.
Okay. So the tailor whips out a data pad and is frantically taking notes on the data pad as he takes your measurements, and you can tell like there's just this flurry of activity from his visor of like calling up like tech companies to try and get these inlays, and trying to source the fabric, and like you could tell that he's really excited for this suit.
Cause this is Thriller.
So the tailor that is assigned to Grace basically takes a look at what Grace is wearing today and goes,
Grace kind of hunches a little bit.
and she realizes that she's like made an error, and she's like, oh honey, I didn't mean it that way. It's just, you've got such a pretty face. Why must you hide it all the time?
She kind of looks up a little, makes a motion at herself as if like green.
Okay, so maybe we stay away from certain colors. Maybe a little bit of foundation. There's nothing here that we can't work with.
I like pastels.
We can work with pastels, yeah. Let's just let's get you into something a little bit more form-fitting, okay?
I need to hide some things. She pulls back one of her sleeves a little bit, and the roots growing out of her skin are more visible.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell that this poor tailor was not pre-warned about this.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, oh.
Grace very visibly winces.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just, no one told me, but we can keep the sleeves and the pant legs long. Just, yeah, we'll figure it out. There are fabrics that show a little less, so we don't have to worry about silhouettes or outlines or anything. Yeah, we can figure this out. You just go through these color samples, and she hands you like a book, like when you're picking out wallpaper, but it's of fabric samples.
Grace kind of reluctantly starts going through them, but then with more interest, and she picks out like yellows and pinks and greens and sort of, flower colors.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And the tailor's
with
just like,
increasing interest.
oh, good. And the tailor's like, well, how about this pattern? And, like taps like the data pad, and it's like a pink and then overlaid with like little green leaves. Like, what about that? Something like that.
that's really pretty.
Okay. And so like she gets you to kind of experiment with increasingly daring color choices and pattern choices, and seems to take note of the ones that you really like. And Jade, the person that's assigned to you, doesn't know what to do with you. Like everyone else kind of already has a little bit of a personal style, and Jade always seemed, to me at least, very functional.
Of course.
Yeah. The tailor is just like, so what's your favorite color?
Yes. I do know perhaps the white, black, and gray palette is no longer appropriate. Perhaps I could try on the teal to purple range. Those seem to be, I have been interacting with Grace, and those colors seem to be very lovely.
And the tailor looks so relieved. The tailor's like, oh, thank God. All right, we can work with this. And kind of like Grace, you get a book of different colors. And it's just like, pick out the ones that you like the best and pick out a couple of different styles of clothing, and we'll get you a couple of nice pieces made.
Yes, so Jay does like to have more like pants and stuff. But remembering what Sandra said, Jade actually selects a couple of dresses, not like flouncy, frilly, like what the mamas wear, but very just sort of tailored for line. But she actually is like, I think they would like a couple me in a dress so often.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely do that. Do you want this kind or this kind? And they go through basically their entire style catalog and let you pick out things that you would feel comfortable in. So when you go to basically like sign off that like, yes, I approve of these designs, like on an order form, basically, you see under like authorized by that it's Colonel Jerry's signature. So he has definitely taken an interest in all of you now and is trying to make sure that you are putting your best sartorial foot forward. So that happens, and when you guys meet up again outside the dining hall.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I gotta do a close scene. Like
yes, of course. Sorry, you get a closed scene. I'm assuming it's that scene from Evita where they just have all the stylists around the block, and they're singing.
So
this is your tailor. His name is Mike. He's been with you since the beginning.
Nah, his name is Leo.
His name is Leo. Okay.
So Lupo walks in, arms crossed. He's kind of thinking, and Leo's like, "So, what's it gonna be this time?" He says, "Leo, the truth is that I have every costume change I could ever possibly need, and if that's somehow not true, we'll be able to provide it for the show. I need something different, Leo.
Leo's
going
face
to war. I need something for going to war, Leo. I'm going to hit him with everything I've got."
Leo thinks for a moment, then taps, and sends you over a zoot suit.
A little more military. Epaulets.
Okay. He thinks for a minute. You see him drawing in the air with on his fingertip is like a stylus.
Oh my god. Have y'all seen the movie Toys?
Mm-mm.
Yes, I
LL
can't
Cool
remember.
J's outfit in Toys.
Oh,
on. In the military man wants a military meal scene. Let me you can find it on YouTube. Here, hold on. Let me
I think I see the one you're talking about, the one with the Z's on the collar.
Yeah, the berets and the red stripes and
With the angry elephant on the beret.
yes.
Yeah.
But like with an angry wolf instead of an angry elephant.
Yeah.
P.S.
God.
People, Toys, really weird movie.
Toys is so underrated as a movie.
All right, I have to look this up.
Yeah, just look up LL Cool J Toys, and it's like the first thing to show up on.
Oh, I see it. Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Like that, but a little more on the shoulders with the zoot suit style.
Okay. All right. So yeah, what he gets you is a so it's thicker through the shoulders. It's got a little bit it doesn't have epaulets, but it does have like the like it doesn't have like insignia on it, but it does have the epaulette.
Okay.
And it is the I'm trying to figure out what color it would be. It's kind of like a blood red, a little darker than blood red. And the front has, trying to think of what it's called. It almost looks like a marching band uniform with like the buttons down the front.
Yeah, I think I see what you're, yeah. I think I can picture it.
Yeah, so it is that.
And Lupo's gonna nod. I like it. One last thing. Instead of the beret, we're gonna go with a fedora, like the one that that Quinn's got, except a little bit longer in the brim.
All right, I can make that happen. You want to keep
the wolf.
Keep the wolf.
Keep
All
the
right.
wolf.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have this done.
Just the most ridiculous.
Now I really want to rewatch that movie and re-listen to the We Hate Movies episode about it.
All right. Cool.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Like that was it.
That's perfect. So yeah, you now have one military outfit you can add to your inventory. Okay, so when you guys go to dinner, Creed is waiting for you. And he doesn't say anything, but his hands are in his pockets and he's kind of like this. And he nods at Quinn.
Quinn very gently like nods back just a little bit.
And then he looks at Jade and Grace and Lupo and he goes, I want in.
On what?
You're doing something big. I want in.
I am 100% going to find out as much information about Creed as I can.
Okay. So Creed is for lack of a better term, he's a fire elemental. like his medical records, his temperature is always somewhere in the hundreds. Like he just runs hot, and he can and there are like promotional reels of him like summoning fires at will, and you know, making a cup of water boil, and like setting off, you know, tiny fireworks, and if you look very closely in his skin, you can see kind of embers, but it's like subcutaneous. It's not on the surface. It's somehow under the skin. And Creed is in a testing pod with Jacob, Riker, and Karen, but seems to be a bit of a black sheep. Like there's the three of them that do projects together, and then very occasionally is Creed included.
Oh, are you inquiring about our show?
Well, yeah, the variety thing. I think it's really cool. I don't see a lot of stuff like that, and I want in.
Well, Creed, I tell you what, I was gonna ask you and your group to join us anyway, but can you tell me why you're coming to us first and they're not?
They don't like you.
That's impossible.
I look at I look at Lupo, and it's like no, according to my calculations, they do not see us in a favorable manner.
I was exaggerating. I'm extremely likable. Do you mean they don't like us, or
No, you.
me? Okay, yeah. Why?
You upset the standings.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the point.
You're taking our time slot.
So what if I just turn around and offer it back to you, saying that, yeah, the Wolfpack can do this show, but I think we can do the show even better if we've got you with us.
You might get Riker, but Jacob and Karen won't go.
Well, yeah, I figured Karen wouldn't be for it, but what's up with Jacob?
He'll do whatever Karen says.
I would complain that this is so high school, but this is literally high school.
It's literally high school.
This is so the 2340s.
Karen doesn't think she can upstage me, does she?
Karen thinks she just has to outlast you.
Yeah, like that's gonna happen.
Jack appears wearing just like pure wastelander garb. Like, we will prevail.
Creed, you're in. But I want you to do something for me.
Yeah?
I want you to go back to Karen, and I want you to tell her that I've got a sweetheart deal with as close to full creative control as any of us are ever going to get, as little oversight as Jerry can get for us, and from what I can tell, as much funding as we'll ever need. And she can get the chance every week to upstage me if she thinks she can. You go back and tell them that. Tell them that if they're willing to work for us, and Creed, if I may be so bold, tell you that you have to be able to work with your team, you're welcome on the show with us. And every week, we will burn it down.
Sorry.
Go back and tell them that, Creed.
Okay. He looks very, very nervous, but he disappears into the dining hall. And when you guys walk in, he is sitting not in his usual place where he was sitting at breakfast and lunch, over in the corner, but he is actually sitting next to Karen, who has kind of scooted away from him a little bit, but she appears to be listening.
Okay. I'm not going to speak for the rest of the wolf pack, but Lupo is going to walk in calmly and slowly, not too slowly, but slowly, take as much time as he thinks it's going to take to go get his food, take the time looking over the choices and everything, and hopefully sit down as soon as Creed has gotten to the thrust of it, gotten to like every week we get to go up there and give it our all. He's going to very slowly turn and look at Karen and just kind of have this look on his face like, I dare you.
Quinn doesn't take signals very well, so as Lupo starts this, Quinn's going to almost run into him and they're like, huh?
Nice.
Quinn, you're messing up my stride.
What does everybody else do?
Grace is going to be hanging back, arms folded, and then in the darknet, she's going to be saying to Lupo, I really hope you've gauged this whole situation with them appropriately, because I think you might be being a little bit too aggro here. We might need to be, we're right in the spotlight. We might need to be a bit more discreet for a bit.
Grace, these kids want to join us. Maybe they don't know it yet. And we have to get them, we don't really have the time to be circumspect here. I mean, this is our chance. This is the chance we've been waiting for, to just crack it as wide open as we can. And I know it. I know any kid who's had to grow up like this is going to want to tear this thing down.
There's daring and there's foolhardy. I was one of those true believers. If you poke them wrong, and one of them here is like that, it could all come crumbling down. I'm just saying, be careful, okay?
I hear what you're saying, but it's not one of these kids. Although I'll tell you what, if it is any of these kids, it's Jacob. But Jade, what do you think?
Statistically speaking, some of those our age are lion and lamb, and they will always be lion and lamb. They will always, I believe the old phrase was, drink the Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid's
Perhaps is Karen.
Why wouldn't you drink the Kool-Aid?
I will follow. They will follow no matter what. Is Karen related to anyone of note? Anyone within Lion and Lamb? Is she a legacy?
Quinn?
I'm still running searches on all of them.
So you do find a picture of Karen standing next to Betty, the executive who is the wife of the leader of Lion and Lamb. And it doesn't look like a family photo, but you can tell that there are some facial similarities.
I'm going to change her yellow icon to a red one with two skulls next to it. And I'm going to put a red icon above Jacob and then a yellow icon above Creed.
Because if Karen is a legacy, and perhaps she has chosen Jacob because it is said that he does whatever she wants, which is, considering the construct that Lion and Lamb prefer, with, of course, men being in a more powerful position, it is obvious that Karen has some sway over Jacob, and apparently she must have been getting away with this. It must be acceptable for some time. So she probably does not want to burn it down. And if she wants to outlast you, it means she is playing a longer game. So fitting into it, you have to realize that there are going to be some who want to follow in the footsteps of those who are power in order to just inherit it and continue the cycle.
Quinn very slowly is going to raise their hand like they want to say something. And then kind of their eyes are going to go towards Creed. And then in everybody's image, there's going to be like soft clouds around Creed with the word soft boy spelled with an I. And then underneath that, can I keep him?
I think the whole wolf pack just like breaks into laughter. Just
Yes,
kinda.
so yeah, Lupo, you have to realize that Grace is correct. There are, even I have been with Lion and Lamb my life. We have both seen it. We have both witnessed it. You do need to realize that not everyone thinks like us, no matter how dynamic and charismatic you are.
But y'all, we've all been it. All of us at one point were true believers, and now we're not.
I likely would have been if it hadn't been for just bad luck. We can't count on luck. We
We're
have
not
to
counting
be.
on luck.
We kind of are, because for all we know, it could be they might not have had that particular turn of luck that might have turned them into somebody who thinks like us. We won't
Yeah.
know until we feel them out. So maybe just
But Grace,
knock it back a bit until we can.
But we should not reject Creed.
but here's what's gonna happen.
There's
Is-
emphasis over soft boy.
If they take the offer, which again, there's no guarantee that they will. Well, I guess I'm saying that for the first time. But if they take the offer, then they have to go up against us every week. And what do you think is going to happen to the Golden Children when they keep getting beaten by the Misfits? What do you think the system is going to put them through? They're going to put them through the same crap that they put us through. And when that happens, then we become their friends. We really become their friends, guys. I'm not saying that we manipulate these kids. Like, we have to have allies that we all trust as much as we trust each other. At some point, we have to trust. We have to trust in ourselves, and we have to trust that these kids just need somebody to show them how they can fight back.
Grace is going to look at Quinn for a good long moment before she says anything, and finally nod and say, I guess you're right. I don't like it, but we're going to have to trust at some point.
And I mean, hey, if we don't burn it down, we can always burn it down.
Quinn gets a
exactly
very
the same.
confused expression on their face.
Lupo, that's exactly the same option.
No. One is us like going on stage and being awesome, and then the other one is kerosene.
Metaphorical.
I'm gonna have to work
literal.
on that one. That one really didn't land.
You
That's not going in the
really
show.
need to
Jack appears in
Workshop
front of
it,
Lupo,
workshop it.
and there's like a drawing board and like multiple scrolls and a hard hat, and Jack's just like,
workshop it. Yeah.
Workshop it. No, that one's not going in.
No. All right.
Uh,
Okay, go ahead.
yes, we do have to trust. And I'm wondering what we should do with Mama. What is our trust level with her? Why did she send us that message? And why? I mean, think about it. The result of Lupo's excursion could have been a lot worse than what it ended up being.
It almost looked like those guys who were following Mama wanted to make sure it would be worse.
I still don't trust her at all.
We have to
Anyone
figure
in
out what
power,
Children of Eden mean.
anyone in power, I don't trust them.
I have known Mama all of my life. I don't know. Meeting you, all of you, with the presenting one position and thinking another, I have not been aware of that. I have always been the formula and everything is such and such. And there's an algorithm and there's a predictability. But now, if there are more people like us where we pretend to fit in a particular algorithm, but then are trying to actually counteract it, perhaps Mama's been that way. What is the Children of Eden? I know we have had a long day and we have had a lot to think about it, but I am still trying to determine what the Children of Eden means.
Jack is going to throw up like multiple references to Eden and to children, and they don't seem to have any connection to each other whatsoever.
Yeah, like
But
Children
it
of the
shows that-
Corn pops up.
Yeah,
Uh,
it shows that Jack's been at least trying to do research.
And why was Mama reading Frankenstein on the trip here?
Frankenstein, that old movie?
No, she was reading an actual book. It's called Frankenstein. It is by Mary Shelley. Hold on. I know you do not want to know all the details, but it is a tale of a man who loses his wife and tries to be God and resurrect life and creates an abomination. But instead of naming the creature, instead of teaching the creature, releases it. And the creature does not know the rules of society and goes out and is afraid of fire, cannot actually communicate that he is afraid of fire, and eventually accidentally injures someone. And then there's pitchforks and there's flames and it's just, then the creature tries to, find Frankenstein and such. Frankenstein.
Children of Eden, Adam and Eve, maybe. The creations maybe abandoned by their creator. Frankenstein.
Well, I'm not sure about any of that, but we really do have to be asking ourselves, did they really bring a bunch of kids who could tear this building down if they wanted to to make songs. I mean, look, there's me, there's Grace, Jade. I'm sure if you find a lever big enough, you'll know where to put it. Quinn, you could shut this place down in 2 seconds if you really wanted to.
Quinn makes the lights in the entire building flicker.
Creed could definitely take this entire place down. Who knows what that Riker kid can do? And who knows what, like, Karen and Jacob can't be the only two people here who can't do something beyond human limits.
Perhaps Lion and Lamb does not know what they have created.
That's impossible. They all know.
Do they?
I mean, not for nothing, I just went running for laps last night.
They didn't know what they had with me until the incident.
Jack holds up a sign that says, "I'm a secret."
Frankenstein thought he knew exactly what he was creating. Lion and Lamb has spent a lot of time and money believing that they have created something.
I mean, they did for a long time think that my power was just being good at show business. And then I turned into a wolf, and that kind of got kicked out the door. They were trying to do something with me. Maybe they were.
Jade, they thought that with you, they were just making somebody smart, and instead they got you.
So
which is
smart,
not, yeah, it's not an insult. It's just you see the patterns of things. You know, you're so good at predicting things. Sometimes it's scary, but like scary in a good way. I think they really might not know what they've created with us. And then having all of us together like this.
I'm telling you, Grace.
Jack drops down a powder keg.
Exactly.
Zoo. I'm Jade is really just taking all of this and putting like equations upon equations and algorithm upon algorithm and realizing there's depth to things. She's 13. She's finally realizing there's depth to things. One of the statistical reactions to an unknown is containment, quarantine. But yet they need to make money, put us on display. Zoo.
And now we're giving them a variety show every week.
Train performances every hour on the hour.
Jack is gonna take the whiteboard again and flip it around. And when they flip it around, it's not a whiteboard anymore. It's actually a massive monitor that has all of these different programs and plans embedded in it, and they're all interlinked. And it says, "But we have free will. We know how to take them out."
So we have realized we are in a zoo, but we have to act as though we do not know we are in a zoo. Yes?
Until such a time as we can take on the Jeeps, yeah.
All right. That seems like a good place to end it.
So
We just kind of kept going there further.
yeah.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. I love it when the conspiracy theories are user generated. So yeah, I think we are going to end it there for tonight.
But can I keep my soft boy?
Yes. So I will say that the very last thing that happens is that Karen gets up and walks over to you. And she's pulling Creed by his shoulder, but like touching him almost like this, like with just like the tips of her fingers. And she's like, if you want him, you can have him. And she kind of gives him a little bit of a shove towards you guys and walks back to her table.
Karen.
Quinn catches him and sets him down.
She keeps walking?
She keeps walking.
Karen.
No response.
Karen, I want it all. And I want it now.
All right. Scene. So yeah, that is where we're going to end it for tonight. You guys have gained +1 ally, Creed.
Yay!
Woo!
Sweet.
So your inventories will be updated accordingly. And
+1 wardrobe,
Remember to store your soft boy properly.
Yes, the care and keeping of your soft boy. He does not come with the user manual, unfortunately.
Who sets things on fire?
Yes. Kind of a dangerous soft boy.
Toasty soft boy.
Toasty soft boy.
Toasted marshmallow boy.
So yeah, we will pick this back up next week. Maybe this time one of the plot hooks that I set into motion this session will actually land. We'll see. Because honestly, I expect the session to be about the children of Eden, not about wardrobe.
Sometimes you just need a fashion montage. It's just science.
Yeah.
To be
It's a
fair,
It was
montage.
necessary.
my laser suit is going to be super cool.
Yes, but Jade remembered.
Yes, Jade did remember. So that we will probably pick up on next time. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. Shout out to Throck for creating such an amazing channel, such a welcoming and inclusive channel, and for giving me this spot kind of sight unseen. And thank you to all of my players for another really enjoyable evening. Once again, my name is Nori. I go by Science Weasels on the internet. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Discord, all at Science Weasels. And thanks again to my players, Tony, Lauren, Rain, and Michelle. And a special shout out to our producer, Andy, for keeping us on the air. So yeah, Michelle, do you have any parting words?
Road crew.
No, thank you to everyone who's watching, and I hope you are enjoying our little band of misfits.
All right, Rain.
Make sure you watch all of our other great content. We have plenty of fantastic shows. Sundays are our busy days. We have 3 games running. There will be news about new shows to come, including Vampire and I believe a custom setting for 5e.
Awesome.
So
All
that
right,
should be
Lauren.
fun.
Shout out to Discount Halloween Candy.
And that's all I got.
For
So.
existing.
Yes, discount Halloween candy. Tony.
I've done 2 games back to back. I'm a little tired for shout outs. Shout outs to Latolestein. Shout out to Labyrinth Games. Shout out to the Discourse. And you can find me at Tony Highwind on Twitter.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.